anybody to make a comment to say that we're live? Come on, do I refresh? I think I'll refresh this live stream here.
Where's your Instagram?
Why does it say waiting? We should be live. 16 waiting. No. The broadcast is, it says we're live. The last comment was, I cannot wait to see these two interact. Love them both. Fantastic. I see a commercial. And do I see my face? There we go. Pause. Bring up
We are live.
We're live.
We are live.
Booyah.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
This is super cool. Okay, we're going to give everyone like a few minutes to get here. And so maybe we start by reading some of the comments. Lucas, thank you very much. This is just the craziest thing on earth.
No, thank you, good sir. Thank you.
Okay, and to let everyone know how this came about, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to fight not reading the comments. There we go. Put the questions in there. We got 30 seconds slow mode on, so if I miss anything, I'll come back to it. I've got my questions lined up. And just to state the obvious, how this got to be, I watch Lucas's channel. I watch a lot of people's channels on both sides so that I get like a full 360 of what the world thinks. And I comment on Lucas's channel often enough, and sometimes the comments work their way up the totem pole. And I said one day after the Mark Sargent interview that I would love to just get other people who are interesting and who have awesome stuff to share with the world on my channel and see if they would agree to it. I messaged Lucas in Instagram. He said yes, and we did this. And just to give some serious credit to Lucas, didn't ask what I was going to ask, didn't ask to see the questions first, didn't even ask really where we were going to go with this.
Wow, now I'm feeling naive and stupid right now.
Well, I laid out the work. I said, this is
it's a setup.
I'm going to nail you on the first question, Lucas.
Right.
And so the jokes aside, now we're on the Google thing, so it's going to switch back and forth to whomever's talking. But I just told Lucas, I said, I'm interested. I know your politics. I'm interested in you as a person. And like I've been saying all week, we're going to invariably discuss politics at some point during this. But I need to know more about like Lucas as a person. And he said yes. So it's just amazing. Lucas, thank you.
Oh, wow. No, thank you. Thank you, I think. Well, I'll save the thank you until after the interview.
No, it won't go anywhere bad. And Lucas, I'm going to ask you everything. It's not a question of being invasive. I even in real life ask people questions that some people say are maybe too personal. If I do, don't be shy. Tell me, we'll move on. We'll touch something else.
Don't worry about that.
Okay. And I say, because we know your politics. We know your politics. We know what you think, and we'll get there. But as a person, Lucas, the only article I could find about you that may have shed some light on things that I don't think you discuss in your on your channel. You have four sisters and brothers?
3 sisters, 1 brother.
Okay, so there's 5 kids.
5 kids, family of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And what is the age difference from first to last?
I'm middle child. Younger brother, 2 older sisters, 1 younger sister.
Amazing. Okay, and can I ask how old you are?
No. I mean, you can ask. I'm not going to tell you.
You look amazingly young, but it's very difficult to tell.
I'm going to take that. It's all of my facial exercises.
Okay, now and within the family, if I read an article, it was in the Epic Times, and again, it was.
Is it epic or is it epoch?
I don't know, or it's epoch. I have no idea. I think a few of my videos have made it in there, and I mean I know of the site, but I have no idea about the legitimacy or the status of the site. But I read an article about you, and I got some insight there, and it said that you grew up was your father around or around not so often? Or
he was in and out. He was in and out due to substance abuse. Okay,
and so I mean, and that is from day one of your life to present, or how did that evolve over time?
As far as
being in and out or being around, I mean, did you grow up?
Yeah, it was in and out. It was just during my childhood.
And if I can ask the very personal question, I mean, how does that? What sort of impact? How does that shape who you are as a person today?
Well, it gives me a better understanding of the struggles that many kids are growing up with today, especially within the Black community, because It's pretty much the standard situation. So, you know, stuff that I talk about when it comes to the Black community or when it comes to certain events that are going on, like I understand, I have a better insight as to, so I had private school, but I also had public school because, you know, I was slacking. I was kind of a class clown here and there. So I had to go to, had to go to summer school, and, you know, we were on a budget. So I couldn't go to like private summer school. I'd have to go to public summer school. So that's where I got my little taste of how that school system worked out, and how just the night and day just mindset, and how, whether it was from teachers, whether it was from students, whether how they managed everything. So I had just a better understanding where, like, kids, you know, when I was going to public, not public, but private school, you know, some of them had elevators in their houses where during you know, summer school and whatnot, and talk to them and like, yo, we're worrying about roach epidemic in our apartment. so it was a great, I don't know, it's just an understanding. I don't think a lot of those kids in those public schools got a taste of what was possible, what was attainable. Because if you're, you know, if you're constantly in the hood, so I mean, it is what it is. So you only know what you know, and if you don't have anyone in your social circle to be like, yo, you can do this or you can be this, then you're just gonna go around, you know, your 3 or 5 closest friends, and if all of them are slanging on the street corner or hustling or doing this, then, you know, naturally you're gonna fall in line.
And so private school, public school for the summer. What did your first of all, were you born and raised in LA, or did you grow up?
LA, thug life, my guy, on my chest. What?
That's amazing. And what did your mother do during this time when your dad's in and out of?
She was an RN.
Say it again. She's an RN?
Yep.
Registered nurse.
Yep. Psychiatric registered nurse.
And she raised all 5 of you basically. She never got remarried. There was never a father figure.
He was there. I mean, when he was good, he was good, and then when he wasn't there, he wasn't there. So I got it. When, you know, he wasn't completely null and void, but so I did get, you know, some interaction. I got some experience, but yeah, my mom did the brunt of the work.
All right, and now before I lose it, we got Gregory Parker with a super chat. Thank you very much. You guys are great. Jeremy Anthony, Viva Lucas. Thank you very much, Jeremy. Morton Crazy. Love your channel. Let's see what this guy's about. Okay, good. I saw Lessie as in a tenant and a landlord. My legal force of habit dies hard. And now your siblings. So you're the middle child, two older, 2 younger. What are they like? What do they do, if I may ask?
Oh man, we're going deep. I don't even think my ex-girlfriends know this. So one law, one's a nurse, one is I think helps with the medical. I don't know what the technical word is, and then one's a gamer.
The one is, does the gamer have
the younger brother? The younger brother.
Are they all in LA as well?
No, not all in LA. No, they're in the state of California.
Okay, that's good enough. Now, this is the question that I have to.
Do you need the social? Do you need the social?
No, I presume you have diversity of political opinions within the family.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we beat the idiot out of them, but yeah.
Now, I gotta ask the question. Your mother, growing up, Democrat, Republican, was candidate dependent?
Conservative. Grew up with TBN. I don't know if you know anything about TBN. Trinity Broadcasting Network. For those of you out there who know what TBN is, you knew, like, the programming back in the day. I don't know what it is now, but yeah, I grew up with TBN. Their movies, couldn't watch them until, you know, they were watched before to make sure everything was cool. I couldn't even do certain video games like Mortal Kombat. I think that's why I'm so addicted to Mortal Kombat right now. I'm like, oh, this is so awesome, because it was too violent. So there was a very, very strict, very filtered, you know, we'd have Bible study.
Church every Sunday?
Not every Sunday. If we couldn't make it, we would just have Bible study at the house. We'd all gather around, like, all right, read from the scripture.
And okay, I mean, that's fantastic. So the conservative growing up. Now, for an ignorant Canadian, Does conservative mean you necessarily vote Republican, or does it change depending on the candidate?
It always changes on the candidate, because now, I mean, Republican, Democrat, honestly, it means nothing. It means nothing. There's no point in saying, you know, I'm a Republican, but I'm also pro-choice and, you know, high taxes and all this, you know. So it depends on the policy. But for the most part, it was very much Republican, because I was always raised that I could be great or I could be amazing. That's how I was always raised. So it was foreign when I came across kids who were like, yo, they have it in for you, this and that. And it was just straight victimhood mentality. Because my mother, even my father, was like, yo, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Like even for my sister, she was like, yo, you're going to be Supreme Court. Supreme Court, that's where you're heading. That's where she's heading. You're going to, you know, own your own animation company. You're going to do this. So I had everything like planned out for me. Like I already knew what I was going to do before I even did it. So it was just foreign to me coming across different mindsets. And it was also foreign to me when I came across, I think it was my first atheist or agnostic or something like that. Because I grew up, I was like, of course everyone believes in God. Of course, like that's dumb. But then after talking to a few people, I was like, oh, wait, what? And I think it was a switch, a light bulb in my head where someone equated God to Santa Claus. I was like, oh, wow. So that's how they think about it. I was like, wow, I've never even thought about that. I was like, that's crazy. So then that got me all in the deep dive of like apologetics and everything. Yeah, it was definitely intense. Definitely an awesome time.
I think the analogy of God to Santa Claus, it fails. I can understand how people make it, but you don't have someone dressing up as God. So even if someone thinks God is made up, it seems fundamentally different. Someone dressing up like a character. No one dresses up and pretends to be God, except for maybe lawyers.
There have been a couple out there.
This is another obvious question. So we know demographics and what demographics vote in block for typically Republican or Democrat. Mm-hmm. You growing up, your neighbors, are they voting? Are they Republican? Are they, you're growing up conservative, but is the overall community that you're growing up in voting Republican under your order?
I mean, if I had to guess, you know, it wasn't at the time. It was actually, because here's the thing, how it's working out. Like, what is a hood back then is no longer like a hood now, because people are buying up property and just renovating places and stuff like that. So I would guess that it was mostly black people. So I'm going to go with Democrat, very liberal.
And your mom's never, politics then is, I imagine the environment is not what it is today, but your mother's not fighting with neighbors, getting along with friends, and not having these heated.
No, we have new neighbors. I mean, the neighbors are cool. We didn't talk politics or anything. It was just like, hi, neighbor. Hi, neighbor. That's how that went. Okay,
and now among your siblings.
Oh boy.
And politically speaking, is Christmas like all-out warfare, or do you agree not to talk about it, or are you sufficiently in agreement with one another that it doesn't lead to political conflict?
There's never any political conflict. I don't think that's the case. Christmas is Christmas. What we grew up on was Kris Kringle. So we'd all write our names down, put it in a hat. We would all get each other gifts. There weren't any crazy gifts. I don't know, so we had Kris Kringle at my school as well. People would buy, there was I think it was like a budget or something. Like our Kris Kringle, when I say the hood, like our Kris Kringle, we would go to the dollar store and we'd all pick out each other something. So it kills me when I hear people are like, what does this dude know? This little prancy, fancy, black guy, Oreo. And I'm like, you know nothing about when I grew up. You know nothing about the struggle. Like, I will never forget when I was in school, there was a dollar store because I was doing classes over at Santa Monica. And I went to the dollar store. I was like starving because I was like, yo, I've been in class all day. It was nighttime doing animation classes. I went to the dollar store to get some cookies. And I swiped my card and went, uh-oh. And for anyone who's been to the dollar store, it's never a good sign. It means your card has been declined. My card got declined at the dollar store. The lady just looked at me and smiled. I was like, oh, see, what had happened was, I have to transfer savings to my checking account. But, you know, at a walkout with a declined card at the dollar store. I'll never forget that day.
No, it's an amazing thing, Lucas, because you mention it and like people discrediting or trying to write off your opinion because it's not the majority within the demographic. And same thing with Candace Owen is they say the same sort of things in order to attempt to just discredit anything you say based on attacking your identity. But I mean, other than that, like when you express your opinions, do you only do it online? Do you talk with people in real life, where you get into these actual sort of interactions where they say these things to you in person?
Well, sometimes I'll try and goat an interaction. Because if they see me wearing an article, like I'm not like really small, but I'm not like massively big. So I don't get the same reactions as some people do. Because like I always say in my videos, like they always pick the right ones. Like no one's gonna, I mean, maybe they would, I don't know. But I don't think anyone's gonna throw a milkshake in my face because they know they'll get that work. But I mean, I'll try, if I overhear someone talking about something, I'll interject. Like in order to catch a fool, you have to play a fool, but I'll be like, yo, oh really? I didn't know he said that. When did that happen? Because I'll know it's a lie, but I'll use the Socratic method to have them prove what they're saying is true, which I knew was a lie. So it usually boils down to one or two reactions where it's like they walk away in anger or they start calling you names.
Okay. And it's like, Before we get too far into the substance, I'm going to just go back to some super chat. Giovanni Bernardone, thank you. Deborah Fields, I think the two of you should have a weekly show. I won't add work to Lucas's schedule. The rate he puts out videos is amazing.
What that means, people, he says no because he has a busy schedule. That's what that means. That's the Hollywood right there. Well, I don't want to keep take too much of your time, but
well, there's an NPC comment super chat, and I'm reluctant. I'm not going to read certain things that I think are going to. I should have prefaced this in the beginning and say like if we can keep the terminology. I know what you use on your channel, and I'm going to get into what impact that's had on your channel and on your videos, but let's keep it so that nobody has an excuse to shut down this particular video at a later date so people can see this and know who you are, Lucas.
Oh yeah, that's why I had to private my last live stream because I was like, yo, y'all wilding out. I know this is gonna get flagged.
Okay, so you mentioned the Socratic method, and now I'm wondering, like, what did you study in university? Yeah.
I said animation. That's why I studied. So it wasn't even animation; it was like film and TV because you can't, like, very few places have like animation. But I would do this on my own because I was always interested in logic and like philosophy and stuff like that. So I just read books.
That's fantastic. And who's your favorite philosopher if you have to pick one quickly? Loaded question. Who have you read and what do you appreciate the most that you can think of offhand?
A variety of things. So growing up, like I said, not coming from a family of means, my biggest thing was to tackle money. So I'd read a lot of money books. I'd read a lot of stock books. And then of course that would conflate with the mindset. So everything boiled down from me being shy and not wanting to be shy. Because it always starts with a girl. So there was girls I'd wanted to talk to, I couldn't talk to because I was like, I was socially retarded. I was just naturally shy. So that got me into like pickup. Pickup got me into a ripple effect of changing your mindset. From that mindset change, it got me into thinking, well, how do I invest properly? How do I, build a company? How do I, do things from there? And from there, that got me into, well, why do people believe, that this person is good and this person is bad? So I usually go by audiobooks. And one book that I love is, because I'm a procrastinator, it's The Art of War. I love that book. It's for me, it was it was such a powerful book to read. And then I was going to do, what was another one? 400 Things That Cops Know That You Don't. I love the TTC series. I don't know what it stands for. Something TTC series. They have a great series. Oh, wait, I can't hear you. Oh, there you are. What was that?
Let's say we'll leave it to the guy, to the people in the chat to tell us what TTC is faster than we can get it ourselves right now.
Yeah, so that Deborah So, let's see, obviously Ben Shapiro. There's just a variety of things that I listen to.
Now you mentioned, so you studied animation. When and how did you get into YouTube, and was bodybuilding before that, during, or after?
Bodybuilding was before everything. Because I was naturally skinny. So I was like, you know what? I grew up with Muscle and Fitness. I remember going to, it was a Ralph store, and I saw this Muscle and Fitness magazine. This guy on the cover had like a chest and abs. I was like, what? I'd never seen anything like this before. I was like, what the heck is that? And I opened it up and I started reading it. It started showing exercises and stuff like that. And I didn't have the money to pay for the magazine. So I would stay in the store and read the magazines. I'm like, okay, that's what that is. That's what that is. That's what that is. And one thing led to another. I'd start lifting. And then what was it? What would you say? Oh, from YouTube. So it got me, I was like, you know what? I saw a bunch of YouTube channels that were covering fitness and everything. And I was currently studying to get my NASM. And then I forgot the other cert that I had. It was another cheap one. I really threw that away. But I was like, you know what? I can do this. That was my whole thing. It was like, it wasn't like, I'm going to be big, I'm going to be this. I was like, yo, I can do this. And anytime for me, if I feel that I can do something but do it better, like when it comes to business, sometimes it's not necessarily a new product. It's just a better addition, or it just does something a little bit better than the product you have. And if you can do that for, I guess a smaller price, then, you win. So I did my first video. My first video was what superheroes are on steroids. because at the same time, I was also a nerd. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. And I grew up with cartoons, Dragon Ball Z, anime, all of that. Like, so I was like, how do I compound two things I know a lot about and love and talk about? So that's what I did. I was like, Spider-Man's probably not on steroids. Hulk is definitely on, probably Tess, Trend. And they used like bodybuilder terms. So I grew up with, what this was, DECA. I didn't know what DECA or Anavar or all these things were. But once I started working out at Golds and certain, like the Mecca for me, that was like church. You don't understand. Going to the Mecca was for the first time. I guess it's like someone who wants to be an astronaut going to NASA.
Is the Mecca Muscle Beach on Venice Beach?
Yes.
And do you know Ike Catcher by any chance?
Ike Catcher? No, I don't.
I think he's 7 feet tall. I was there 2 years ago. 7 feet tall. It looked like he was a full 2 heads taller than me, and he's the one who lifts up people above their shoulders and takes pictures. Amazing stuff. He's just the one I remember from Venice Beach in particular.
So from there, it went from fitness, and then I was like, fitness is boring, right? For me, it's boring. There wasn't anything to talk about. At the time, Rich Piana was alive. Rich Piana, for those who don't know, Rich Piana, he started off with Mutant Muscle, what was it called? Mutant, I think it was just Mutant. And then from there, he built his own thing, One Day You May. But there wasn't a lot to talk about. So I was like, you know what? What do most guys who like going to the gym, where are they really interested? And I know for me, the first reason for me to go to the gym was like, I'm going to get girls, right? Because I saw girls like muscle. And then eventually I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this for myself because I like how I look. So I was like, you know what? Let me start talking about like pickup. Let me start talking about women and like the game and everything. And back in the day, I don't know if you read The Game with Neil Strauss, and it goes over mystery method and everything. So I was like, let me talk about those two subjects. And then eventually that led into a combination of fitness and game and fitness and game. And then when the election happened, I already knew who I liked. I was like, yo, dude's hilarious, right? Dude's like, I get this guy. But I'd never talked politics. And so I did one little video about the election. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Very, very milquetoast. Very just putting it out there. And then eventually that just snowballed into what it is now.
So the channel started off bodybuilding, gaming, and as of 2016, you noticed that, I don't want to be cynical and call them the most popular videos, but that's where the demand was at, and that's where you found a niche that you could really go crazy on.
Well, I wanted to give. Well, I don't know if it was popular or anything because I was always subscribed to. I was subscribed to what I was interested in. So it was bodybuilding channels, and then like not gaming, but like pickup channels. But I was like, you know what? Let me just do a video on this because I think people are like losing their minds, and be interesting to just put it out there. It's like, well, guys, this is what happens here and there. Like I wasn't taking sides; it was very neutral. And it was just an interesting response, and that was just one video. And I kept doing my fitness things, and then something else happened where I was like, I have to talk about this. I was just like, because now there's certain things that goes off. It's like, yo, I have to address this, and then that just got a positive response. It was like, okay, well, this is stuff that I grew up with. This is also stuff that I believe, and I feel to a certain extent knowledgeable in, and it's just really just commentating on what I believe. This is bad or this is good, and the reasons why. So I was like, you know what? Let me try out one more video. And the funny thing is, you would have people from the fitness channel. It's like, yo, I usually don't watch your political videos, but I checked them out, and I got, I really agree with you, man, and yada yada yada. So I was like, all right, let me just, continue down that pathway.
And so now, I've been watching you for a bit, but now I don't see the gaming channels or the gaming videos. Sorry, are the ones where you're sort of maybe talking about.
Well, that's going to be all of that's. With YouTube and everything, and how the culture is now, all of that's like. One of the biggest companies I used to follow was RSD, Real Social Dynamics. I grew up with them, and they're changing their whole tune because of the YouTube and the restrictions that are there. With safe spaces and asking for consent, and which obviously asking for consent, but they're going to like the extreme. And there's that nuance in game where you have to be leading. And you have to be assertive to a certain extent, where you assume attraction in some cases, and that's like game theory or whatever. But all of that's going to be sanitized just due to the evolving nature of YouTube.
Okay, we're jumping ahead, but I guess we'll come back to some stuff. So I guess the proportion goes from exercise to gaming, or body fitness to gaming, and then as of 2016 and a little later, now it's 90%. Virtually 100% political.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the question is this now, if I may, do your videos get systematically demonetized?
Some of them do. Yeah, some of them do. I know when I switched to doing more political videos, the whole channel, all my videos got demonetized. I was like, huh, that's interesting.
Okay, that's very interesting. Now, they all got demonetized, including ones that had been up previously that were not political, or just as politics?
Everything. I remember I opened it, everything was just, I was like all yellow. I was like, what? Just because I did like a couple of videos?
And so you do the manual review and they confirm.
Yep. You know the process.
Did they lift it, or did they remonetize them after the manual, or just confirm?
Well, here's the thing. A lot of the videos weren't they weren't like crazy views. So I just left them in yellow.
Okay, and now, so as of today, when you put up a video, because some of them get tons of views, or they get a lot of views, are they? Do you know if they're demonetized before you make them publish? Like you verify that to make sure they're good, and if they're not,
I should, but I don't, because what I should start doing is just putting them in unlisted or private, and then seeing if they get the green light. But in some cases, it'll get a green light, and then after like 10, 15, 20 minutes, it'll go yellow. And you have to do manual review. Like my Dark Phoenix movie review, that got demonetized.
That's amazing. So demonetized you, and confirmed after a request for manual review.
After I did the manual review, then it went green light. But that took almost a week.
That's amazing. And now when some of them get demonetized after having gotten the green light, like what time frame do you notice sometimes that they get demonetized after? Like a week, 2 weeks, a month, or is it typically the same day?
No, sometimes it's within a couple of days on some of them. Some of them, like my Biden, it's crazy because I just don't get, because one video I did was a review on like a police shooting, fully monetized. There's another video I did, similar thing, demonetized. I'm just like, okay, all right, I don't know.
Do you have, I know once you get to 100,000 subscribers, YouTube gives you, what do they call it, a channel manager?
I don't think I have a channel manager.
It's a point of contact where if you have an issue, you can speak with someone directly at YouTube. But Do you have one of those if you have an issue like this, or are you just relying on the manual farming it out review of your requests?
It's just manual for me for the most part. I don't know if it's that's a good question. I should check into that because I know I think you can like chat with someone, and I've chatted with someone. I don't think it was a manager. It was just someone at YouTube. Because I was like, yo, where's my little plaque? Where's my plaque? That's all. That was the main thing I was worried about. I was like, I want my little plaque. Everyone has a plaque. So eventually I had to hit the moment like, yo, where's the plaque? They were like, all right, well, we'll figure it out. We'll check out make sure everything's legit and everything. Because I thought automatically you had to, it just comes in the mail or whatever. No.
Lucas, if you haven't seen this one, there's a video by a channel called Uncut Angling. And when the guy got his plaque, he drilled 2 holes in it. It's a fishing channel, I should probably say that. He drilled 2 holes in it and turned it into a pike lure and actually caught a huge pike using his silver play button from YouTube. It was quite and before I'm going to go back here. Christopher Lambert, Lucas, will just call them ignorance and move on. Thank you very much, Chris. I'm reading some super chats that got away from me. Mr. Glick Click, Lucas has some, I just lost it. Oh, there it is. Lucas has some of the best phrases, and this is actually a good segue because it's going to bring us into this part of YouTube. I want to ask you about the business side of it, and not for my own personal benefit, but also I know that people out there who have channels who are looking to call it survive or thrive or just figure out how to work it like a business. How do you, other than monetizing your videos, how do you monetize what you've built on the channel?
Well, you'll be able to find that out in my new program that's coming out later this year. No, I'm joking.
I thought I accidentally plugged something.
No, I actually am coming up with a program. I'm working on it right now because a lot of people have asked me. That's a good question. It's a very good question. There's a variety of things. It depends on what your niche is, because there are a lot of things that I haven't monetized. I should be monetizing. Like I draw, and I noticed some other channels, they sell their artwork. I was like, well, I can draw like a bunch of stuff and start selling it. You have the merchandise thing that everyone likes to do. Sometimes you just have to think out of the box. It depends on what your audience is willing to buy.
You're doing this full time right now. You don't have a full-time job and doing this at the same time?
No, I do animation, but that's like I moonlight as like animation. So I'll take on like small projects and stuff like that.
Very cool. Okay, so as far as monetizing YouTube goes, you do the monetizing through AdSense. You sell merch, your shirts, bruh. Oh my goodness.
There are a few out there.
And I believe men, I believe women, I believe facts and evidence.
Yeah, there we go. That's the one. That's the one.
Who do you use as a shirt? Are you using Teespring? Or are you using?
I use Teespring.
And your experience with them has been decent enough. Like it's been working.
For the most part, I haven't had any complaints yet.
Very cool. Okay, awesome.
Okay, I wish they allowed me to integrate it in my channel, because how certain channels have like the Teespring bar underneath.
Yep, yeah. And I had tried that. My only problem is coming from Canada. The Teespring shipping out of the States is a problem. But I assume your demographic is mostly, if not exclusively, American. Or like how does your demographic break down?
That's a good question. I've gotten a few people from Canada. There's some from South Africa. But most of them, I would say the good chunk is from USA.
And age and sex, offhand?
Age and sex, last time I checked, it was ranging from 25 to like 56.
Okay, very cool. And now you start doing these political commentaries and they become basically the bulk of your channel. How do you get requests? How do you decide what to do if you're going to do a video on a subject?
Well, it depends on if there's anything I can add to it. That's really like if there's nothing I get, like if it's done and done, then it's like, okay, there's no point. Or if it's a story that hasn't been getting much traction that I think should be getting traction, it's a variety of things. You also, there's things I want to cover that I know YouTube is not going to allow me it's not going to be too friendly about me putting it up on there, especially with now the ad apocalypse and all that and everything that's going on. It's like, so it limits you to a certain extent, which is why in some cases I'll do like an Instagram live stream and talk about things that I necessarily can't talk about on YouTube or address there.
Okay, and now that you mentioned it as well, and probably get back to the Vox-apocalypse, are you using other platforms to back up or to post simultaneously as with YouTube, just in case it gets blocked on one platform?
Every once in a while, I'll post on like BitChute.
Okay, now, it is BitChute, right? It's an unfortunate...
BIT.
Okay. Now, this is, I mean, I want to get into some more of the sensitive stuff now. You live in California, which is not typically the most conservative, or doesn't have the appearance of being the most conservative state, but is our impression of California from outside accurate? Like, is it, for the most part, liberal to the extreme, or is there like a big conservative movement that doesn't get much attention?
There are conservatives out there. We're just in secret. We're underground. We have a secret handshake that we do, secret contact. I don't want to give it out so everyone knows it, but if they're conservative in Cali, they know what it is. But for the most part, it's very liberal. Okay, and when you say, I mean, there's truth in jest, but do conservatives have to keep the billboards off their front lawns and sort of not engage? Yes, Guy. Yes.
there's no bumper stickers in California, even if you are conservative.
Yeah. If you want your car keyed, if you want to, tap into that auto insurance, yeah, go for it.
All right, now, and this brings us to the subject. Now, you are vocally. I'm reluctant even to call you conservative as far as the political commentary goes, because you have said things which are. I mean, I've said you've criticized both sides. You've criticized.
Which is what I find interesting, is that some people can't do it. There's some people who are like, Trump is the second coming, and there's other people who are like, Trump is Satan himself. I'm like, both of y'all are crazy. Like, the thing is to criticize someone when they do bad and to praise them when they do good. Now, I do understand that good and bad is going to be relative to the eye of the beholder, but I mean, according to me, that's what I'm like, okay, you shouldn't say that, or you shouldn't do this. But some people are just like, you sound like a libtard, Lucas. You're starting to sound like a libtard. I'm like, oh, bruh. Bruh.
No, but I mean, that's the thing that's driving me nuts as well, is that everything is so dichotomized or polarized, where if you don't love or hate unconditionally, that itself becomes a source of hatred. Like people, yeah. You're sort of sitting on the fence, and they don't understand how someone can't just be one polarized extreme or the other. But you're now very vocal about what you believe, and I think people who see it objectively might see that you are critical of both sides, even if you are more critical of one, just because I imagine it makes for better content. But the people who are, say, on the left, I imagine, say, don't like you very much, or they might take offense to a lot of the things you say. And so do you get backlash either virtually, in reality, or digitally for what you say?
Digitally, yes. Reality, no. Them keyboard warriors, they ain't about that life. Y'all ain't about that life. I wish a motherfucker would run up on me. They ain't about that life, especially not here in Cali. All these dudes, all these people who write up in the comments, or because sometimes there was a point in time where like YouTube was like hitting your channel for the comments left. So when that started happening, I was like, all right, they never implemented it. But even the mirror of that in the ether, I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna approve comments. Like how it works. Like if there's something that's like something suspect, how it is. It'll either go into review for spam or held for review. So there's like probably a good amount of comments left in there.
So
but I'll go through them, and like sometimes I'll prove. Like I'm not that person who's like, I don't like what he said, I'm gonna delete it. Like, go for it, knock yourself out. I approve everything. I was approving everything at one point, but just got to the point where I was like, well, I don't know if I can approve this. And then if I approve it, YouTube, gives me a flag on my channel because this person said hashtag whatever it is, or called me the N-word or something like that. So I was like, all right, whatever.
But no, so that's it. So for everyone who doesn't know, but I suspect everyone does, you have approve all comments, hold potentially inappropriate comments, approve all comments. And after the forget who did
it's held for review, and then possibly spam. The possibly spam folder. That's what it is.
Now, some of them, if the comments include certain words, they automatically go to inappropriate or potentially inappropriate.
Yeah.
And no, Lucas, I have the same thing. I don't mind any comment to the extent that it doesn't incite violence. I mean, that's the threshold for me as to what is acceptable or tolerable versus what is objectively has to go into stay in the
Absolutely agree. I'm like, that's a great Instagram post from me. Are you joking me? Like some of the cops, you're a coon, you're this and that. I'm like, look at this guy, and then I'll prove it.
Oh, so that's amazing. And now, but in that, when you run into people on the street, do they talk to you? Are they interested in talking politics if they recognize you? And do you run?
I have gotten that. I don't know if I like that because I'm a very private person. I don't like my information out at all. So I'll get a few people who are like, "Hey, do you have a YouTube channel?" Like it was, where was it? It happened to me. I was watching Godzilla, so I was up in Sunset. Well, you're from Canada. I don't know if have you ever been to LA?
Oh, yeah, no, I might have a sister out there, and I was.
Okay, so you know. Okay, so you know Sunset. Yeah, Sunset Boulevard. So I was at a theater there, and one of the attendants, she was like, "Yo, do you have a YouTube?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Man, stay amazing."
That's the other thing. It's like so people who know that you have a channel are potentially themselves call them closet conservatives or come up to you quietly and say, "I love your channel," even though I don't publicly expose these videos.
I've had that happen in the gym. Dude was like, "Yo, man, I appreciate what you do," and then he walked off. I was like, "What's wrong with you, my guy?"
And the people at the gym, though, who are maybe are not politically aligned with you, have no issue with it. You guys get along the way normal.
Well, they have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's what I'm amazed at is locally that not everybody would know who you are, but I'm still shocked at how few people are fully aware of what YouTube is as a platform. Like there's a lot of people here in Canada, especially in Montreal, even more so. They don't know what vlogging is. They don't know that what YouTube is in terms of its potential or what it does, how it replaces television for a huge demographic. But I'm surprised that you're not more.
Bro, I'm thankful for that. Don't be surprised. Don't jinx it. I can't. I mean, it's cool, but it's also at the same time, I was like, okay, well, if they know who I am, then that means I can't be ignorant here and there.
That's another thing I'm getting to. Like I was saying, in politics, there's the substance and there's the delivery. There's the substance and the form, and the same thing in law. And so the substance, what I love, and what I think is the double-edged sword about your channel, it's the substance, which I love, and then it's sometimes the form, which I wonder, especially with what's going on with YouTube, if the form is necessary for the delivery of the substance, knowing that it's going to irk people, knowing that it's going to offend other people, and knowing that it runs, the risk of putting you in the bad timeout section on YouTube.
What I don't understand is that if you don't like what I say, then why watch me? I don't get that. You'll have people out my Instagram, because I put my Instagram, I had my Twitter handle up there for a while until a bunch of fools started slamming my account and got me banned. I had to create another one.
Twitter, right? I wasn't imagining things. You're not on Twitter.
No, I'll get a whole bunch of people. Hey, I was trying to add you, Lucas, but it's showing that your account is suspended. I was like, yeah, it is. I have to start a new one. But it just got to a point where it was just, I don't know. When it comes to Twitter, you get so just engulfed into like a conversation or to debate, and then you have to, for a second, you just have to take a step back. It's like, yo, I'm wasting my time arguing with someone on Twitter. What am I doing with my life, my guy? Yeah, I was just wasting too much time.
Twitter is a black hole. It seems like it's only good for complaining and fighting and occasionally spreading news or like some emergency situation. But yeah, Twitter is just the biggest black hole, I think, as far as
they'll just block you. If you win an argument or you prove their point wrong, they'll just like, you're stupid, and then blocked. I was just like, wait, I just wasted a good 30 minutes to get blocked? Yeah.
Well, no, so you got banned, suspended from Twitter for one of your comments, or someone flagged you? Like, how'd that happen?
I honestly don't know. I don't remember, because it got to the point where it was just like, well, we feel that your account is it's not in lines with Twitter's policies or something like that. So I had to go through a verification. I kid you not. Every day I had to verify my account. I had to be like, okay, here's my number, here's my email. I approved the email every single day. And eventually, I'm sure I said something. I think it was probably relating to ma'am, something around there. And somebody got triggered and just like, oh my God, and I got suspended. Right. But I didn't care. I was like, all right, I'll just create another one, stupid.
Yeah, Twitter is, it is a place where people just go to fight, and people do invariably end up escalating the rhetoric until it hits certain catastrophic or extreme.
Yeah, and then you end up deleting tweets. I'm like, what kind of stupid nonsense is that? Deleting tweets. Okay, that makes it all better.
All right, we got Morton or Crazy. Thank you very much for the super chat. He says people on far extremes do not know moderation. I think we've gotten into a world now where people think it's normal only to think in extremes without actually even attempting to meet at some point. Or not even to meet. It's just a question of trying to empathize and understand what other people are saying so that you can appreciate.
Exactly. How do you argue your point if you don't know your opponent's you don't know your opponent's argument? It makes no sense to me.
Lucas, it's amazing. I put the video, I saved the video. I'm going to post it for tomorrow, but it's just breaking down the recent developments with the dismissal of the lawsuit against Project Veritas. And one of the things I say in the video is, like, as a lawyer, one of the exercises I would get into with my client is say, explain to me what the other person's position is as they would explain it. Don't tell me the way you would describe their position. Yeah. Try to put yourself in their shoes, because it's going to help both of us down the line. And it's like, when it comes to politics, for whatever the reason, people are just have become unable to do it, or they've always been unable to do it, and I have just never been aware enough.
They're being rewarded for it.
Oh, say that again.
They're just now being rewarded for it.
Yep, that's the dopamine effect of social media, is that you get the likes and you get the retweets and you get the rush of being the sassiest one or the rudest one.
Absolutely, because back in the day, you would have to prove your argument. Now it's just like, well, I'm in a group of 20 people who all think alike, so I'm just gonna be like, well, you're a hater. It's like, well, that's not an argument. Calling me an idiot is not an argument, my guy. Or saying you're a monster. Like, okay, but what about my argument? Don't attack me. Attack my argument, please.
It's fantastic. I mean, I'm the youngest of 5, and my dad's a lawyer, 4 of the 5 are lawyers. This is the type of conditioning that I grew up with, where it's easy to attack the person, it's easy to engage in ad hominem, but it's not going to change the substance of what they're saying. And so someone might be saying something because they are what people are throwing around the term now, a white nationalist or alt-right or alt-right adjacent. They might be saying it because of that. It doesn't necessarily mean that what is being said is wrong. Now, you have to deal with the substance and not the person, but it's the nature. People go straight after the person in politics and in social media. Okay, hold on. Deborah Field says, please do this with a black conservative patriot. Deborah, thank you very much. I know what those words mean. I'm not sure what the question is, but do you consider yourself a patriot, Lucas?
I think I'm a patriot. You know what? I was second to Chris Evans for almost getting Captain America. That's how patriotic I am.
Or you have to explain to someone who has no idea what you just said. What?
No. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. This is your audience. Okay, so Chris Evans is Captain America for those of you out there. So I said I was second to almost getting the role of Captain America. That's how patriotic I am. And if you don't know who Captain America is, you need to, go play in the beach or something. This channel isn't for you. This live stream, it's not for you. You're not going to get along.
All right, we got Mr. Glick Glick. Mr. Glick Click says, if ma'am, coming soon from Hollywood, Aquaman, Iron Man. All right, I get that. Now, what was I just about to say? The gaming thing. Oh, the Patriot. No, okay. And I put myself off my screen so I can't see what I'm looking at here. The bodybuilding, actually, I forgot to ask. You did competitive bodybuilding?
Yeah.
And did you have I don't want to say success, but like, did you win?
Yeah, my first show, I took overall. Yeah, I got my little statue, got my sword and everything, but it left a bad taste in my mouth because it's like, yo, I've been as a competitor, spent so much time, so much money. That's what it was. Money and food, training for tanning, for the hotel, to entry fee, to even compete in the NPC, all of that. And it was just like, I don't know, left for me, I know there's other people who enjoy it, but for me, it just left me empty afterwards. I was like, yo, it was cool being on stage and getting applause, but I was like, I can't pay the bills with this trophy, my guy. Like, I can't go to, Red Lobster or Denny's or something. Like, yo, I'd like to pay with this trophy. Like, it didn't do anything for me. So I was just like, yo, all the money is behind the scenes. And then once you start getting into like the politics of bodybuilding, it really irritates you because the best physique doesn't always win. And why that is, well, that's what gets you upset.
I feel there's something you don't want to say that you want to say. Can I push you on that?
As far as like, oh, it's well, I don't know, but from what I've been told by through competitors is that many of the judges, or many when it comes to the heads executives of the NPC or of the IFBB, that it's playing favorites. If I sleep with this person, I'm guaranteed to get a high rank in this show, stuff like that. And I mean, I get it, but the only thing I don't like about this is that there's no reason that they can't do it, because it's so subjective. Because it's like, well, I like, this person's physique over this person's physique. Well, why? Well, I just do. I think they have a better abs and this and that.
No, that's the problem. That is my fundamental problem with Olympic games that are very subjective in the evaluation and not objective in terms of like time or who finishes the race first, is that it lends itself to these types of scandals or impressions of favoritism for whatever the reason, depending on who the judges are, depending on connections or who's put in their time or whose turn it is to win type thing. But I imagine, I can only imagine that the bodybuilding world is very much like
it's completely flipped itself. I mean, it's topsy-turvy right now, because what Instagram and social media has done is just lend itself to predatory practices from people who want to make a quick buck. So now you don't even have to be, because I remember back in the day, like the people you would listen to would be the people in the magazines, because they were the ones that were competing, that were doing shows. Now, because you have YouTube, well, now you have a lot of these YouTube fitness celebrities or these Instagram models and stuff like that. And people listen to them more than they listen to the people, who are actually competing. So many of these competitors don't have personalities. like they're just like, duh, I just lift weights. I don't mean that they're dumb. I just mean that they're let's say camera shy, or they're not really good in front of a camera relaying who they are. So when you have someone who's an Instagram model who has no problem in front of the camera, it's like, yeah, guys, so you're going to do this ab and you're going to do this workout. It can be complete horse bull, but hey, I like this person over that person. And then we won't even get into like the whole drug epidemic when it comes to the fitness. I mean, it's really crazy how things have just completely changed.
And that's what I wanted to ask, but maybe you don't want to go to that part. Sorry, and Barney is up here. Barney, say hi. Okay. The drugs in the industry. I mean, is it the same type of thing as what was in the Tour de France type field?
It's something like that. Whereas it's not mainly for performance, but it's more along the lines of aesthetics. So it's more along the lines of just gaining more muscle while losing fat. And the thing is, when I was growing up, I didn't know that these people were taking like anabolic substances. So I was just like, oh, okay. Because you'd see so-and-so pointing to cell tech or pointing to a certain protein. It's like, well, that's how you got that big? Well, I'm gonna buy that protein. And then after, months of eating the protein, I was like, yo, I don't look like that. Well, maybe I gotta get this supplement. Maybe I get that supplement. And you just don't know that, it's not really the creatons and protons that's getting them that size. And that was a revelation to me.
And are you just do fitness to stay in shape, but you don't do the competitive body scene?
Oh yeah,
bodybuilding?
No.
Okay, amazing. Let me put this thing down because I almost fell. Okay, now let's get into this now. 2020 is coming around. Has your channel been affected at all by what's been going on with the Vox adpocalypse?
I'm sure to a certain extent. I need to get a little better on the analytics and everything, but I just put out videos just to put them out because I enjoy them. But some of them I've noticed, I mean, it's been difficult as far as titles and the meta logging and all that, what the hashtag, what sets off, the algorithms and stuff like that. But I mean, if in some cases, if I know that, this video, I know it's going to get demonetized, like I know it, I'll do a gaming review or I'll do a movie review. Because the thing is with me, like, it's not so much as politics. Like, I watch movies. Like, I play video games. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I do as a person that I can opine about. When it comes like whether it's comics and stuff like that. And if the audience wants to see it, yeah, I'll put out the content. So I'll put out one video that I know is going to get demonetized, but I'll put out a second video, to cover that loss.
Okay, very interesting. Let me. And I'm going to read this from Tish Soto, who says, "Black Conservatives Patriot is another YouTuber I love you, Lucas." Deborah Field says, "BCP is another YouTuber. I watch all three of you." Who did I just skip there? Skip somebody.
Oh, that's a name. Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm going to add it to the list. I love. This is the other thing. Like I watch you. I watch the Young Turks. I watch CNN. I watch Fox News. I think people need to get out of their comfort zone when it comes to what they expose themselves to, because it's like the kid that you protect from germs all the time. It doesn't make them healthier in the long term. They have to learn how to deal with these foreign bodies that they don't necessarily like. EV says, "Enjoy both you and Viva, Frei, and Lucas channels. Keep up the good work." Good old Subby didn't leave a comment. Okay, Lucas, have you gotten approached by any news agencies, any channels to come do segments on a regular basis?
A regular basis. If I have, I wouldn't know because I'm not really good with my keeping up to date with my email. That is my fault. I'm gonna do a better job the rest of 2019? The rest of 2019. But yeah, I'm sure I have. I know I've done something on, I forgot what network it was, but I've done like a little debate forum on that. But I'm sure I just haven't checked, because I don't know, you just get inundated with so many emails and it becomes overwhelming at times. Like even with my Instagram, it's just like a whole, like you'll answer a bunch of messages and it's like, okay, it's 80 requests left. And then you'll go to refresh it and it'll be like 99 plus. I'm like, bruh, I just answered you. And then of course people will get some people will get butthurt. Like I had one person like, "I thought you said you answered your messages." I was like, calm down, my dude, calm down.
Okay, now no, that is amazing. That's something that I am only starting to fully appreciate. Like I love reading all the comments and love responding, and I'm only really appreciating that you get, I mean, for what it must be like for you and for the bigger YouTubers who have hundreds of thousands, millions of subscribers. And it's impossible. It's impossible to do it and maintain sanity. And the other thing is, it might not be healthy to do it either, because you end up reading as much of the love, you end up reading as much of the hate, which brings me to my next question is, when you read, do you read anything that actually offends you, that upsets you, or are you insensitized to that, or have you never been sensitive to that to begin with?
That's a good question. So am I really insensitized to it? There's certain things that obviously didn't get under your skin. But it's like at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do. Like, well, I don't know you. Okay. I appreciate you leaving a comment. Thanks for the SEO boost. But other than that, I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I'd read. It's always the comments that are negative, or something that just says something that's totally just like, yo, I covered that in the video because I knew you were going to say something like that. And they say it anyway. It's like those. You can have 100 comments. You're like, yo, it was a good job. Also, it's that one comment that's just like, this mofo, I can't stand this person. And you want to reply, but if you know you reply, they got you, because it's going to be in this long thread and they're going to screenshot it. Like, yo, look what he sent to me, and they're going to make a video on it. And it's just like, nope, you can't do it in certain cases. Because when I was starting off, yeah, I would reply to everything. Like, well, that's stupid. And why it's stupid? Because of this and this and this. But now everybody wants to DM you and screenshot the DMs. I'm just like, yo. And sometimes I'm that type of person. I'll just say stuff just to mess with you. I was saying this in my live stream. It was like, when I come to games, if I lose a game, like a fighting game, I'll say you're trash, or I'll say you're garbage. No, and I'll frustrate the person. I'm like, yo, you lost. How am I trash if you lost? Like, doesn't matter. So I'll do that with my Instagram. I'll just say stuff just to trigger someone, or just to poke at someone. But now I can't do that because people will just, oh, look what he said, this and that. It's like, yeah, people are so sensitive nowadays. I don't get it.
No, I'm convinced. Like there are two types of negative or trolling or hate comments. There's the ones that you're never going to get anywhere with because it's a perpetually moving target, and it's not authentic discussion anyhow, because they're just waiting to pick at something. And then there's the other legitimate, which is I think the types of comments that maybe sting a little more, where you see the truth in the critique or the criticism, or you see the legitimacy in them being offended or insulted. And I don't know if you do, but it makes me feel bad, which is why I'm very reluctant. It's not thinking twice. It's that I don't want to be the source of somebody getting insulted when when I write or respond or make a video. Whereas you, when you make a video,
oh yeah, complete opposite.
You know you're going to piss somebody off and piss off. You're going to insult people. You know that you're going to make someone cry. And I mean, on the one hand, do you not have the temptation to say, if I can do it in a manner that doesn't get them to react this way, would it not be better?
Not. I'm sorry, if you're crying over my videos, or if you're triggered over my videos, well, then don't watch them. That's what I say. I get a whole bunch of people who are like, why do you hate such and such? I'm like, the same reason you do. And they'll be like, well, I don't hate such and such. I was like, well, what's the lesson we learned today? Don't ask leading questions and block. That's how I don't have time for your nonsense. If you're so offended, like I've seen videos where I completely do not agree with the person. Like they're saying some wild stuff, but I'm just not going to, I'm going to send this person to evil. I'm just like, all right, that person's stupid. This is what it is. I'll move on. People go out of their way to like, I saw your video and I wanted to shoot you an email. I'm like, I don't care. I don't think people understand that. Like that's another thing. They're like, well, this is just a facade. This is how he is on camera. No, pimpin'. No, this is how I am in real life. If you say some nonsense to me, I'm going to say some nonsense back. And guess what? It's not going to be my feelings that are hurt because growing up, I'm used to the trolling. Like I would troll. I love trolling, especially if it's good trolling. If it's good trolling, great. If it's bad trolling, get better at your game. It's like sarcasm. People who are witty, I love sarcastic. If you have good comebacks, all that, we can do that all day. That's my life. So when people try to come into my life, trying to best me at something that I grew up doing, you're going to have a bad time. When you pizza instead of French fry, you're going to have a bad time. So I'm just like, I don't have a problem. Go ahead, say some comments. But don't get butthurt. It's people throwing stones in glass houses. And then they want to be like, call the police on me. Like, you the one in the glass house throwing stones.
Well, but now, and this, you've probably experienced this now. You're on platforms which are, I don't even want to say, I don't know if it's arguably left-leaning, but most people think they're left-leaning. So you get into these arguments and then it ends up with blocked and reported.
Yep. And that's what they do. And I'm just like, yo, you can do that online. But that's why I say when you were asking about, does it happen in person? This doesn't happen in person. Like, what are you going to do? Block me in real life? How are you going to do that? Good luck, my guy. But online, people just they feel emboldened because it's like the idiots in numbers. And it's just like, yo, there's like, okay, guys, I've had comments that have been left in like the spam or helpful review. It's like, oh, this guy's preaching hate. Remember, guys, to flag this video down. I'm just like, you little punk, like, what I want to say, I can't say, but I'm just thinking to myself, like, how frail does your ego or how frail does you as a person have to be? It's like, I don't like what he says, so let's spam it. And it boils back into what's going on now with the whole, box and everything. It's like, it's no longer, I disagree with what you say. It's now like, well, you shouldn't have the platform to say it. That's what blows my mind. I mean, if I had tons of people who I disagree with, or I'm like, nah, I don't really agree with what you're saying, I would never try and fight for them to be deplatformed or for them their voice to be silenced. That's what I don't get. That's what I think is the perverse occurrence that's happening right now. It's where people are just like, you shouldn't be allowed to say this at all. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But there's always been people like that. I think the issue is now is that these people are being applauded because they've done it and veiled their ignorance under the umbrella of inclusiveness or tolerance or all these words, these trigger words they use in order to vilify any type of dissent. That's the scary part for me.
Well, it's interesting. When I studied philosophy, we studied Noam Chomsky back in the day, and I remember one of his most controversial things was having given a foreword in a book which questioned or denied the Holocaust. And his defense was, I'm doing this not to condone or promote what the book is about, but rather just to defend free speech. And I mean, and I remember the way I felt about it at the time. And now, we're living through what's going on YouTube where it's the cancel culture multiplied by 100, merging with shut them down culture. Like if he says something we don't like, take away the platform to do it, ruin the livelihood, go after the sponsors and try to ruin them as people so that they either learn a lesson or don't say the things that we don't like them to say, or if they're saying them, have such a limited audience that we think we've won this discussion. But I mean, if that happens, and if that happens on YouTube, and if you sort of get caught up in that, what's your plan? Where are you going to go, and what are you going to do?
That's a good question. That's a good question. That's what I think about every night. I just go full time with the animation, or go full time with other projects that I have working on. It's just, you have to. I mean, you have to roll with the punches. That's just how it is. I have a second channel which I cover. I was talking about animation. I'd start that channel up and just go full time there. I mean, but even now, the thing is, they're now even attacking like gaming channels. So it's going to get to the point where, like, YouTube, what's your ultimate, like, what's your goal? And for me, I think YouTube is eventually, since everybody wants to say that YouTube is now the new television, how it's killing off print and how it's killing off TV and ratings like that. Well, if that's the case, well, then look how television is. Well, who are the main people on television? So it's like, well, if that's the case, then you're going to be gone anyway. Well, if that's the route that they're taking.
That is my sort of doomsday vision of what might be happening, or what might happen to YouTube, is that you push off all of the small creative individuals or channels, or the creators that brought people and to YouTube and made it what it was, and all that's going to be left are the big late night, montages, and it's going to basically turn into the forced advertising that you had on television with the same creators that you had on television, and all of the small independent creative content is going to go elsewhere and leave it to become what television is.
Yeah, it's like the quote from what was it, Dark Knight? You what's the great quote? It's a perfect.
You die a hero or live long enough to be become the enemy.
Yeah, to see yourself to be the villain. What was that?
Oh no, that was it. It's to become the villain, not the enemy.
Yeah. That's pretty much what we're looking at when it comes to YouTube.
Okay, I got to answer Michelle M's question from a while back. How many hours a week do you both spend researching and producing content? 40 hours a week, more. Lucas, you answer the question first.
How many hours? I don't know. I'm not really tracking my time. I'll see a story and I'll read. Like, here's the thing why I don't like. Some people will send me, hey, are you gonna do a video on this racist person, blah, blah, blah. So they already poisoned the well. So I'm like, okay, don't give me your take on it. Just give me the link and I'll check it out and see what's going on. Because in some cases, even with some of these outlets, they'll frame the story in a way where it doesn't give you the full picture. So you have to go to multiple sources like, okay, oh, now we see that this person had a weapon, or now we see why this person got shot, or now we see why this happened. So, I mean, it takes time. I don't know how many hours it takes. It depends on the story and how convoluted it is. If it's something is, Jussie Smollett, yeah, trust me, I spent an hour on that story, my guy. That was probably a few minutes max.
Well, so that's an interesting thing, because when I did the Jussie Smollett summary, not the commentary, but just the vlog, those take the most time for me, because I'm not there to give my reaction or my opinion. It's sort of like the not the fine research, but going over
the legal analysis.
Yeah, like reading the lawsuits. I mean, that's
there you go. Now, you can have that all you want, my guy. That's all you.
Let's say, Michelle, to answer your question, it's like, for me, it is in a weird thing. I don't measure the time, because it's stuff that I would be doing anyhow for my own personal benefit. And
yeah, just to be informed, like, okay, what's this whole scenario going on? So I want to read about it. Yeah. So it's the same thing.
It's the Japanese concept of ikigai. It's like, I'd be doing this anyhow, and the fact that people are interested in participating or partaking in the journey, it gives me a reason to do it even more.
Yeah.
No, but it's interesting thinking about poisoning the well via what's the word? Editorialized headlines, and that's the amazing thing. I do a video on this for a while, but like, and it's as true for Fox News as it is for CNN.
It's true for everyone.
People need a 101 on how to read the news. What's the word I'm looking for? Not investigatively, but they have to read it critically. Lucas, what do you use? What do you go for news sources? You go pretty much anywhere and everywhere?
Anywhere and everywhere. I mean, not in some, Joe Blow's, Joe Blow's talks.com. But the basics, what everyone else is listening to. That's unfortunately how it is. But if you have someone who you're trying to listen to the argument, and all they know is CNN or MSNBC or, you know, Vox or Daily Beast or something like that, and you don't know what their viewpoints are or their perspective, how they cover certain stories, then it's gonna put you at a disadvantage. So I'll look at Daily Beast, I'll look at, you know, Vox or Slate, New York Times, a variety of them, and see what's the narrative and how much of that narrative is true and how much of it is just, you know, spin.
All right. Now, Madam Von Kook, if I didn't say thank you, she said, love your channel. Keep it up. Keep up the great work, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, now I guess everybody, we haven't answered any question, if you have specific questions, start posting them now and I'll read through and make sure I can get to any questions that people may have. Lucas, I'm trying to think of something. I'm trying to think of something else that I had now. Trying to think of the questions I've always wanted to ask you watching these videos. How do you come up the ideas for merchandising when you have a good phrase that you start using? When do you make the decision to put it on a shirt and try to sell it?
It's a very good question. I didn't start off with shirts until I had like maybe 100 plus followers. Because I was like, what's this shirt merchandising stuff? It was like, that's stupid. Because the thing is, a lot of people put out like merchandise and you never see them wear it. I'm like, what? What is this? What am I going to wear it for if you're not wearing it? So I always put out stuff that I would wear. Like I on my Instagram, I'll do stories where I'm like at the gym with my shirt on, or with my Never Go Full Retard shirt or something like that. You know, stuff that I would wear. So that's my understanding. But then I get people who are like, yo, you should put this on a shirt. And I'm like, I never thought in a million years anyone would buy a shirt with, oh my goodness, on it. But people are like, yeah, I want that shirt. I want that shirt. I'm like, all right, okay. So it boils back into, like, I've taken marketing and, you know, what was it? Marketing, not broadcasting. I'm taking broadcasting classes too, but just basic marketing and stuff like that of business 101. Like, you know, give people what they want.
Someone that wants to know what the name of your animation channel is. It's called Amazing Animation.
Yeah. I haven't. Well, so the running joke is it's my twin brother's channel. That's the running joke. Is my twin brother manages Amazing Animation, so he has to get back on it, start putting out some content there.
Okay, now and the other thing, you've never had any real issues arise from any of the content on your channel. Real confrontation, real threats. Someone says, "Take that video down, or I'm going to sue you for defamation." Nothing like that.
I wish. No, I wish. No, I haven't. Nothing crazy like that.
And the long-term plan for your channel, you're going to keep doing this indefinitely, but certainly into 2020?
That's a very good question. I'm going to keep covering stuff as it is. It's not broke, don't fix it. But you're also going to have to be wary of the crackdown. Because I was telling people, I was like, yo, there's going to be a crackdown come 2020. Yeah, it is what it is.
All right, and now I think I know the answer. No wife, no kids just yet.
No wife, no kids. Little Lucas is not a thing yet. I always talk about him. He's just not here yet. We're working on it. It's hard in Cali. It's hard. Ladies, I don't know. Man, I'm telling you, I got to go to Phoenix, Arizona, or Utah. I hear Pennsylvania is good or something.
Amazing. Lucas, I don't want to keep you any longer. This has been phenomenal. I think I got out every question I wanted to know.
Are you sure? Are you just throwing me away like that?
No. I just
one of your dolls. No, I'm messing with you.
I just don't want people to get. I don't think I'm asking the same questions over and over again. Okay, so hold on. Someone said, "Do you have any shirts? Do you have any evidence shirts yet left?" Sorry.
Yeah, they're all on Teespring. Teespring.com/stores/The Amazing Lucas.
And one question, actually, now that I think about it, that I've always had: where are you shooting? At one point you were shooting outdoors against a white wall. Now
yeah, bro, that was the worst thing because it was like an airplane route. So, like, kid you not, like every 5 to 10 minutes, I had to pause, or it'd be like really, really freaking hot, or because I was out by the place I was at. I was out by the only place was a film was because I needed to get outside of my place. it was right next to like the trash. So people were like, "Why are there always flies in your videos?"
No, that's amazing because I noticed that. I thought, oh, I thought it was Florida. I thought it was like sort of a more tropical climate. That's hilarious.
Yeah. No. Oh yeah. That's my fault. Yeah. I was in the rainforest. That's where I was. That's where I was. That's why all the flies and the animals were coming.
Let's see if we got any more here. When you do live streams, incidentally, I mean, how often do you do live streams?
Not often.
And when you
not often at all.
You pick a specific subject, or you just do them to catch up and talk about everything that's been going on?
Sometimes just rant and rave. That's usually what it is. It's just a long extended version of like my videos, because people are like, well, because it's crazy how people are like, well, you're faking this, you're faking that, and it's like, every once in a while you got to check. I'm like, all right, calm yourself. So so I'll do a live stream and just rip and rave. Like the last one I did, I had like a phone in where I had people call in, which is cool. Never done that ever. But yeah, I usually don't do them.
Okay, now someone wants to know what programs you use for your animations. Maybe we leave that technical discussion for the animation channel.
Maya, for anyone who's wondering, Maya. Or Blender. Blender's free. Cinema 4D is trash. I hate that. And I really hate 3ds Max.
This is definitely a technical discussion that is beyond me. Oh, Chris just came in and says, can you sing? Can you sing the jingle for JG Wentworth 877 Cash Now?
Oh my, do you know the jingle?
I may know it if I hear it. What is it?
All I know is the end where it's like, it's my money, I want my cash now.
Lucas, do you go to church frequently?
No, I'm sorry. I feel so bad. Oh God!
You want to know if people?
Thanks, bro.
It was not a religious thing.
That was my fault. I should have been more political with my answer. Well, what do you mean by church? Do you mean church as in the? No, I have church at home. I do my little daily donations.
And so, I mean, I'm trying to figure out in a milieu with your friends or family where what you do on YouTube can create friction in real life with the people you know. I mean,
Nothing. So I had a friend who was watching my channel. He was like hardcore liberal, and he got upset, so he stopped talking to me. And then after a while, he actually said he had a roommate who was conservative, and then he got to understand their views. He was like, okay, I get it now. But other than that, I mean, nothing really. There is no leakage, and that's how I like it. I never go up to someone and be like, yeah, I do YouTube and everything. I'll never say that. Never. I'll just say, I do animation. That's what I do.
Sway Ocean says, why does Lucas keep asking why Sway? Why? I assume it's not me, even if it should be. Smiley face. Why Sway?
It's how Sway, not why Sway. Come on, my guy.
What does it mean?
It's from those of you who know, it's from Kanye West, where he's on Sway's radio station. If you YouTube how Sway, it'll show up. Because Kanye's like, how Sway? How? Come on, this is old. Like, what? Step your game up. Who said Sway Ocean? Get it together, my guy. It's not why Sway, it's how Sway.
Someone says we should do a live stream regularly. I'm not creating work for anybody, but I may message.
There it is. See, he doesn't love me, people. See, that's called the Hollywood. Well, I don't want to take up his time.
Lucas, I would do it once a week, man.
I love it, man. I love it. Oh, it's the lowering. Now, is that you lowering?
You don't look like a pessimist in general.
Hardcore pessimist. Hardcore.
You are a hardcore pessimist?
Are you joking me? I live out here in LA. What? What do you mean? You would have people come up to you, hey, how you doing? I love what you're doing. And go to the next person, hey, F that guy. The guy sucks. Right in front of your face within the same 5 seconds.
Okay, no, but that might make you a cynic, but not a pessimist. My pessimist meaning in your overall outlook. I'm from sitting here in Canada.
It's going to be a negative outcome. Always prepare for the worst.
So now how do you see the social fabric of a civil society breaking down in the States over the politics and over what many feel to be the political games?
Well, that's a good question, because I've often debated whether or not this is going to be the new norm. Because I figured, like, once Trump is out, everything will go back to normal. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think that's going to be the case because we got some new blood on the Democrat side. So I think they're going to go full retard with everything. So, I mean, prepare.
You've been in the States for a while, so you've lived through various election cycles. Is it, in fact, tangibly worse now than it was, 12 years ago?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But here's the thing. Yeah, I'm going to say yes. Because the thing is with Obama, no one dare, say anything against Obama because then you would be a racist, racist bigot, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is with Trump, because Trump is just a polarizing figure himself, it's naturally going to have an impact on everyone else. So I think it's hilarious. I think what's happening is all the crazies who are like medium crazy under Obama or under Bush are now, they feel emboldened. It's like, okay, we got to stop this Nazi. We got to stop World War III from happening. And that's what's taking place. The squeaky oil gets the wheel. Squeaky oil gets the wheel. You're not going to call me out on that?
Hey, I know what you mean.
Okay, all right. That's another thing when it comes to YouTube. I'll say something like that and people are like, oh my God, he's so stupid. He does. I'm like, calm down. You know what I'm saying? Why are you freaking like being so anal about things? That's what I said. Lead. What did I say? I pronounced president. That's what I said. President. And people are like, it's president. I was like, really?
Oh, Lucas, did you? I mean, I don't take for granted you even watch my videos, but I did one where I was talking about I'm even nervous to mention Assange's name, but where he was, the word abstentia. I keep saying abstentia. It was, they were trying to get a detention order in absentia, and I have a mental block where I say abstentia every time. And my goodness, I mean that critique was probably the most popular theme of
get lit up in the comment section. You get 50 comments. It's CE, not SI. I'm like, okay, do you think that little of me? Like, calm down, people. Or leeway. That's when sometimes I'll say leadway. I'm like, we all know there's no such thing as leadway. We all know I'm saying leeway. Like, calm down. But people, oh my God.
It's part and parcel of the ad hominem attacking the person where people think you score some sort of argumentative points by picking on spelling mistakes and grammatical mistakes.
You see, he's an idiot. I told you.
Stephen Glasker says, for more control, you can turn off Super Chat and use Streamlabs. You'll see who's giving, but you keep 95% of the profits. At Odin's Movie Blog started doing it yesterday and works great. Stephen, thank you. Right now, I have not been hedging my bets, but everyone in my channel has been saying, look at BitChute, look at Super Subscribestar, and I've been looking at all these new platforms just in case it becomes to the point where call them objective or rather innocuous legal analyses become demonetized on YouTube. And I've been learning a lot of these things. So there's just a ton of other options there.
I mean, I think that's going to be the unfortunate thing because even with, like I was saying, even with gaming, the great thing, because there was just an article on CNET, but even with gaming, it's like, yo, the great thing about gaming is that people are passionate. Great thing is like, yo, when someone puts out a bad game, people are like, yo, this game is trash. You want to know why? Because I'm spending $60 on it. So I'd love someone to tell me this game is bad before I go out and purchase my own money. Purchase it with my own money. Because especially with GameStop, I don't know how long they're going to last. but like you buy a new game and you can't return it, or you return it and they'll give you like $2 for it. I remember that for a long time. That was like one of the biggest hustles. So I would always buy used games because I knew I could return it if the game was bad. But now that they're criticizing people who are, or even they call them what, outrage gamers, it's like they just want to sanitize everything, where everything is just like, well, and I can't stand reviewers like this who they give this little milquetoast noodle spine review where it's like, well, I didn't like this part, but it was still good. It's like, wait, what? How is it you didn't like it, but it was still good? And they get these little soft, I can't stand people like that. We're like, well, I think this and that and this and that are a little bad, and they're so selective with the words that they use, not to trigger the developer or the publisher because they know that they're going to get kickbacks or they get a review copy. So you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you, but your job is for the people who watch your channel for honest reviews, not towards the publisher or developer who's making the games. And I think there's a conflict of interest in that. And that's what irritates me. But I think that's what they want. They don't want people to call companies out or call EA out when they do some nonsense.
Well, that's the concern I think a lot of people have is what's driving this what's driving the streaming crackdown on YouTube, and are the gaming channels, and I don't know enough about it, but are they being demonetized, or are they going after them on the basis that what they're saying is, insulting to groups?
Yes. Oh my God. And then the same dude did like an article about, oh, here's the vocabulary, and all the words are completely inaccurate, the description he gives. But it's just this lambasting that's taking place. And it's like, yo, really? But I get it, because the same thing has happened on the political side. It's like, well, I want this group of people to like me, so I don't really want to criticize them too much. Or I'm not going to be invited to the special parties, or I'm not going to be invited to, the events that are taking place. I'm just like, yo, if that's the case, then you're a whore. That's for lack of a better term, that's what you are. You have no standing, no standing, no standards, no principle, nothing. It's just like you're just going to give people what you think they want, what you think is best for you. Just like that's never me. And the thing about YouTube is that now that I do this, it's like, man, there is no filter on my mouth. Like if I see you and I don't like you, you're gonna know.
Well, that's the good thing. I mean, you're self-supported. Do you have sponsors, or do you have sponsors?
No, I haven't taken any sponsors. Because the one thing I don't like is when people do the videos. It's like, hey, I want to thank Dollar Shave Club for sponsoring this video and stuff like that. I was like, if I were to do something like that, I would want it to be, I don't know, more. I don't know what the proper word is, but I wouldn't want it to seem like a sponsorship or a promotion. Yeah, I'd want to be native to the platform.
I mean, yeah, it's you're fortunate to the extent that my concern always when anyone approaches you, on the one hand, you don't want to sponsor, you don't want to endorse the wrong product, and you can't endorse something that you don't use.
Exactly.
And the other flip side is like the second you take money from a sponsor, you become sort of beholden to them, where you have a say over your content, and I think it would be crippling for what you do, because
I would never. I don't like that, because I've gotten a bunch of gaming companies who shot me, yo, hey, can you want to do a sponsorship for this mobile game? I'm like, yo, I would if I played mobile games, pimpin', and your game doesn't even look that good. I don't even want to install it on my phone. So I'm just like, no, thank you though. I appreciate it. But I also think about it like hindsight being 2020. I'm like, yo, all these opportunities, like, was I a fool to not take them just because I didn't, play the game or something like that? If they're paying me this and that. But I just, like, if I don't play the game, I have no interest in playing the game. How am I going to tell you to play the game or check it out? I mean, I guess I could advise you to check it out. It's not really, advocating for the game. It's more of a recommendation. But I just don't like going down that road. I don't like having a manager that I have to be like, is this okay? Is this all right?
Are you using Patreon? Or do you have a Patreon account?
I do Patreon, but I haven't set it up. But thank you for all the Patreon supporters.
Well, no, I mean that's the alternative ways of financing a passion if you don't want to be beholden.
The thing is, I don't like about that is that one thing I don't like about Patreon, I've never been one to ask for help. And I think that's bit me in the butt sometimes too. Like, if I'm going to do something, if I want money, I'd rather you buy a product, right? Which is why, like, people want to ask this and that. And it was like, Patreon's cool, but I'd rather you be supporting something or purchasing, something that I created. That's always been my thing, rather than just you giving me money to talk. Because I'm thinking it from my side of perspective. I wasn't doing YouTube and I was just watching someone speak. Like, bro, go F yourself. Like, what do you mean? I'm not going to pay you to make videos. Like, because here's the thing. As once someone falls or disappears, you'll just go on to the next person. Like, yeah, he was good while he lasted. And you just go on. It's just how people are. It's just the nature of the beast. And some people get butthurt like that. So I've always been like, yo, I enjoy it while it's here.
All right, we got Chris here wants to know if you would ever go on the Tommy Sotomayor's show. He mentioned you once before.
Tommy Sotomayor. Yeah, I'll go on anyone's show. What? No, I shouldn't say that, and then I'll end up like Ben Shapiro. No, I'm joking. I love Ben.
Look,
I don't have a problem. I love Ben. But
now,
I'll just say, you know what? I'm gonna leave because I think you have negative intentions, and just that's gonna be my exit for any time. Like if I ever get asked a question, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be it. I don't even know the answer. But you know what? I'm no longer gonna continue this interview because I believe you're doing this with negative intentions. I appreciate your time. Thank you. That's what I'm gonna do.
yeah, we all. I mean, everyone was sort of embarrassed for Ben when that happened because it was, as far as my experience with Ben goes, totally out of character. And I have felt that he was kicking himself in the butt. He probably still does it, thinking about it right now. For anybody with like the mildest amount of OCD, you cringe when you think about having done what he did. But hopefully the internet's memory it'll be forgotten eventually. But yeah, that was a somewhat of a mistake. And Jeremy Anthony says, Viva and Lucas buddy cop movie coming this fall. Lucas, do you know any agents out in LA?
I doubt they'll take me. They'll do a research. That was honestly one of the reasons that I had to postpone, because I was going to do the sheriff's department. I was like, yo, I'm not gonna be able to do YouTube, and be a sheriff. So that's honest. That's really funny that they mentioned that.
Yeah, and that's another question that I think in 20 years down the line, do you anticipate ever regretting potentially having been as honest as you are on your channel?
Being as honest, I don't think so, because I don't think there's anything that I don't see how it would harm me. To sort of, I just don't. I mean, obviously, there's the natural. You're a homophobe, xenophobe, the transphobe, all that. But I'm like, I can take those attacks, right? As far as, let's say, everything disappears or whatever. I mean, I don't think when it comes to animation, or when it comes to like technical stuff like that, it's really based off of your reel. It's really based off of what you can do. Yep. Now, I think the issue would come in to part, whereas the community of the business or the studio that I'd be working for, I think that may be an issue, because they'll be like, yo, this guy's a dick. Oh, wait, oops, my fault. Sorry. Excuse my French. Sorry. See that? That's the unfiltered Lucas coming out.
No, my only concern would be that, and it's my concern for myself, even as a lawyer, you're independent in that you get your own clients, and I wouldn't be particularly worried that a client would say, I'm not going to use you as you're my lawyer because I don't like your content. But if you want to go get a job with an employer and they do the social media vetting that they do, and have the hashtag cancel culture that they do, and they say, oh, geez, or they find out after they hire you and they say, oh, we didn't know that you had this, and we don't want to be associated with these beliefs because that's how political the world has gotten. Do you have that fear?
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. And I think that's what it boils back to what I was saying, whether or not this is the norm. That's where really all this lies, is whether or not this is the new norm, or this is going to revert back to how it was. And, if this is the new norm, it's good. It's nice knowing you.
If it's the new norm, you're going to have political enterprises where companies are going to be conservative, or
it's going to be game over. Because I've already experienced it, where I was going on someone's interview, I was going on someone's podcast, and the people of this person's podcast was like, you shouldn't be sponsoring hate. You shouldn't be given a platform to hate. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And the funny thing is, I was reached out to MTV. MTV wanted me to be on The Real World. I was like, so I went through all the process. I was like, all right, fine, whatever. I was like, like what you guys are gonna be paying me to be on The Real World is not gonna do anything for me. But I was like, I started thinking about it. I was like, there's no way they're gonna have me on. There's no way that they're gonna have me on, because that would be devastating for the network, especially me. And what I say, I think they would be accused of sponsoring hate, or giving a platform to hate and bigotry and yada yada.
What ended up happening? Because that's kind of cool. What they said, you didn't make it through to the
no, and so I made it to like the final. But no, I didn't go through. I was like, okay, and it was like, okay, it makes sense.
Did they reach out to you, or did you sort of apply like with?
Do you think I applied for The Real World? Come on, my guy.
I don't know how The Real World.
Come on, bro. I don't watch any freaking MTV or I don't watch TV. No, they shot me an email. They're like, hey, we saw, you know, videos or whatever. Like, we'd like you to come in and try. I was like, all right, whatever. It was a win-win for me. I was like, as long as you allow me to continue doing my videos and stuff like that, which they were kind of like, well, they gave me like the lawyer talk. It was like, we're really interested in helping, you know, individuals with their work and stuff like that. It wasn't a yes and it wasn't a definitive no. It was like that vague, nuanced, like circle jerk answer, which I can't stand. But yeah, that's how that went. So I did, you know, tape after tape, interview and stuff like that. But I didn't know it was for 6 months. If I thought it was like for 3 months. So I'm kind of grateful that I didn't, because I would have had to pull out. I was like, yo, I don't want to be trapped in a room with a bunch of people for 6 months and everything's recorded. I don't know that much about the real world. But after I did like a YouTube search, I was like, what is the real world? Like, I remember that like back in the 90s or something like that. I didn't even know it was still around.
Right, well,
I was like,
I was thinking cynically, a little controversy might not be bad for the real world because it might call the.
That's what I was thinking too. But at the same time, that backlash is no joke. That backlash is severe, and especially the stuff that I would be saying. Everybody would be getting some. They were like, "Yo, we have to shut this show down. You can't be saying stuff like that."
Okay, we got Andrew Hohensteiner wants to know if you're doing a road show. Come to Detroit. Have you done a meetup yet, Lucas, or not?
No, I don't do meetups. I don't even know what those are. You like?
Well, no, meetup. It's like a meet and greet. I only know from what I've seen James Charles doing in the.
I don't think I'm there yet. I don't think I'm there. Not there.
Well, I mean,
I appreciate it though.
Have you thought about doing a public debate with anybody who'd be willing to debate you?
I'm down.
I'm thinking. I see a YouTube reality TV show here. A YouTube reality show where you have you debating somebody, and then you have the subscribers or the viewers give the thumbs up or the thumbs down as to who won the debate.
Oh, there you go. I think what's his name? There are a few channels I've seen. Yeah, I don't have a problem with any of that.
All right, awesome. Hold on, I'm going to my notes just to make sure I've got everything that I wanted to get to.
I just feel right now that the issue is, it's honestly, what was the quote by Voltaire where it's like, if you can make people believe absurdities, then you can make them commit atrocities. And I think that is telling of where we are right now.
Well, I mean, and that's my concern or my fear in seeing doomsdays is just the level of you don't want to call it virtue or sanctity on both sides, but like it just doesn't seem to be getting less extreme with any day. But then the question is this, and this is maybe putting a little bit of pressure on you. It doesn't seem to be getting any better betting by the day to day. And the question is, are the Crowders and are the U's and are the people who and are the Young Turks on both sides, the people who use the inflammatory rhetoric to get their ideas across, is that a symptom of the
I don't think I use inflammatory rhetoric. Well, I think the worst I use is probably the word retard. I'll say full retard. And that's from a movie, Tropic Thunder. I've gotten people who are like, I work with special needs kids. You shouldn't say that. I'm like, go piss off. Like, yo, is your special needs kid watching the show? No? Then what are you worried about? Calm down.
But even speaking, I mean, first of all, I found that movie, I am not sensitive. I love dirty humor. I love edgy humor. I watched Tropic Thunder at the time, and I didn't like it because I didn't find it funny for any of the reasons.
What? You don't think Kirk Lazarus was funny?
I know. I tell you,
I thought he was hilarious.
I found the humor violence to be too violent. I found I'm not sensitive to the never go full in quotes. But I still.
I'm not sensitive to that word. But
it's not that I'm not sensitive to it, but I know that other people are, and if I can avoid.
You're so kind. You're such a kind gentleman.
Now this is the question. Then I consider myself to be kind. Thank you, or at least overly sensitive and
considerate, very considerate.
But my question is like the Crowders who make jokes of it, the Colberts. My only question is like, it feels like there's almost an effort by some overarching media powers that it's good for business to keep the divide going and to exacerbate it. And who stops playing into it first in order to give a little bit to get the knot out of the rope?
No one does. What do you mean? That's money. That's monies, my guy. That's like might as well go up to you like, well, I want you to make less money. How can we do that together? Well, are you going to help them devise a plan for you to make less money? I don't think so.
No, and that's where I think that the mainstream world has to start voting with their dollar to get out of these to stop.
But I think also the issue is that with Trump, this is like there wasn't a lot. I mean, where it is right now, I don't think we've ever seen this to this extent. I think so. He adds some gas to the fire, which makes it easier, makes business good.
Yeah, well, it's good. He adds to it. Nobody's going to deny that, period. He says things which are objectively improper for any public platform. We got that. Then the question, though, is he a cause or is he a symptom? And did he get there because of the way things were, or because that's what people needed at that point in time? And if it keeps going the way it goes, where does
I think we needed it. I don't know if you've had like corporate jobs and stuff like that, right?
I had one job I had one job. It was the only one I ever had and left was at a big law firm.
Okay, so there's certain ways. So like the corporate talk. That's what I call it corporate talk, where it's like, hey, we're doing really well today. Blah 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 blah. It's all this. It's like this sanitized, watered down talk. And every once in a while, you'll have a manager, you'll have an employee who's like, yo, that's BS. And they'll just call it just straight up. And I think that's what Trump was. I think we've gotten so accustomed to the corporate talk. Well, we decided to go a different way. The company is, we're freeing you from all responsibilities. Instead of the person who's like, yo, you're fired. Why? Because you're late. That's why. We're sick and tired of you being late. You're costing us money. As opposed to, well, the times that you've been coming in have been problematic with the times that you've been scheduled to show up. But that's what it is. Sometimes you just need someone to say, to speak the quiet parts.
Well, and that I agree with. And that's the fundamental problem that I always had with, and now I might be getting into the politics part, but my issues with Trump were not the substance of the policies or even the overall demeanor. It's just things that you shouldn't say. And it's not clear if they're being said it's not being clear if they're being said as part of a chess game where he knows by saying something bad, it's going to get a reaction that's even worse, and everybody can play that for the politics that they play it for. But there's just certain things the world would be better off if people just didn't behave a certain way. But I just say it's a weird thing that it came at a time when a number of roads were intersecting in American politics, and where you have your sanitized political talk, but that people
perfect storm.
Yeah, no, it's and when I was at the big firm, it was one of the things that I couldn't stand. It's not the sanitized talk. It's like it's just the way you have to behave so that you don't step on anybody's foot, which is why I would never consider myself to be unemployable, but I prefer the independent sort of answering to myself.
Yeah, but that's also the politics, because every company has their little politics. But I mean, which I definitely can't stand, because we have to befriend this person because this person knows that person who knows this person, and if you want to move up, well, you got to make a plan for that and know who your social circle is and who's friends with. That I enjoy. It's just the corporate talk that I couldn't stand. I enjoy the politics. I enjoy like the strategy of trying to figure out how to get stuff done. The problem solving is that I love.
Well, yeah, no, there's no question. It's it is the internal politics where you have to. Yeah, well, in a law firm, it's different. It's, and I don't want to speak ill of the practice that I left, but if I could have tolerated it, it would have been fantastic in all aspects of my life. But there's the expression of the dog. There's a wild dog or the wolf that sees a dog, and the dog is healthy and fat, but is missing all the fur under his collar. And then the wolf says, "Why are you missing all that fur under your collar?" He says, "Well, that's where they put my collar and tie me to the post." And then the wolf, who's sort of hungry and struggling, says, "Well, I'd rather have my fur, which is a symbol of my freedom, than be well fed and tied to a post."
Ooh, he's preaching, people. He's preaching.
That's why I had
your handkerchief.
But okay, if we get the predictions for politics, because you are following it, who is going to, I mean, and we'll come back to this video in a year. Who are going to, well, it'll be less than a year. Who are going to be the Democrat candidates that are going to go far and who are not?
I think any of them are going to go far. I mean, who do they really have right now? I mean, I don't know. I don't think anyone hits. And I think that's the problem. I don't think anyone hits. With the, you know, the cool kid on campus is Biden, but I don't see anyone else. I mean, Pete, you got Yang, Andrew Yang, you got Kamala. Just none of these people are likable. And the ironic part is that they're going up against Donald Trump, the person that they can't stand the most. They're like, this guy's the worst person on face of the planet Earth. You tell me you can't find anyone who's just a teeny tiny more likable than him? I think that's hilarious. But I think there's also a game going on that that's not so much, you know, on the forefront. And then I believe that's the demographic game, where it's like, well, we don't care if we can, you know, change the demographics. Well, then we don't have to worry about who's likable or not. We'll just win by default. So I think that's also an issue that has to be, you know, taken into account, is, you know, the immigration, the influx of certain states strategically that is happening. So I mean, how I see it is just that I feel like Democrats are like magicians. It's like, hey, look at this, but the real thing is going on that's not being covered.
One thing, I mean, I having family in California, I read about it. Is there in fact an exodus from California the way some news outlets have been reporting? Like people,
from what from people I'm speaking to, yeah, I think a lot of people are just, they're bouncing, they're deuces, just chalking it up, because it's very anti-business. Taxes are ridiculous. And then the housing is just very expensive. I was talking to a few real estate agents just over in Calabasas, and they're like, yo, it's gonna be a heavy hit once it gets all the way over to Cali, as far as recession wise. I'm like, I believe it, because it's to the point where you can't rent anything. God forbid buy. But it's just like, yo, in order to rent a little place, you know, it's gonna be an arm and a leg.
And are you planning on sticking around? Or you have any plans to head out of state?
It's a good question. Maybe Phoenix or Texas. Maybe Utah was nice. I went to Utah one time.
Now let's see if we've got any questions that I have missed here. I don't see any good. I don't see not any good questions. I don't see any new questions.
Wow, there it is. There it is. We need to embrace that side. That's what we need to embrace. No, I know it's in there somewhere. You just suppress them. That's what it is.
There are no new questions up here that I think I missed.
Slip of the tongue. He's like, look at all these trash questions. That's what he wanted to say, people.
Come to Florida, no taxes. I was invited to California many years ago for a wedding. And that's coming from, the red elephant being demonetized. Lucas, do you follow the red elephant?
Yeah. I've seen a few of his videos. Yeah.
Okay.
His channel was demonetized, all of it?
Apparently, it was all demonetized from one of the more recent videos that he put out.
I think he's in OC, I believe, Orange County or something like that. What?
It's interesting. I mean, I watched a few videos. And this is the question. Actually, this is going to be the $1 million question. And I think I know your answer before I ask it, but I'll ask it. If you know that you could get the message across without running the risk of irritating or irking, you know, the gatekeeper, why not do it?
Without irritating or irking the gatekeeper. I mean, it depends on the person. It depends on where you're at. The thing is, even with my videos, I had to private some of my videos. So I was like, yo, I know they're going to kill me on some of my man videos, but I always try, in any of my videos, I try not to, I'm trying to think, not to be so, not necessarily polarizing, but just to be mean, like ill-spirited, just to be mean, just to be, for no other reason, just to be mean. That's what I try to do. I tried to just come at it like a logical, humorous way, where it's like the emperor has no clothes on and everyone was saying, oh, I love your outfit. And I'm just like, yo, dude is naked. He's butt naked. So I don't see it as like me being mean or evil or malicious in intent. It's just me poking fun at the obvious. And that's how I come across.
And so now, speaking of that, one of your recent videos, the straight pride parade.
Yeah.
Did that get demonetized?
No. Because
Okay.
the thing is, I don't know how they go about it. Because like I said, with the shooting videos, and I don't want to jinx anything. People are, you're gonna watch this interview, and next thing I know, everything's gonna be done. I'm like, damn, this guy. But I just try to do it because I know I've read their terms of service not to make fun of anyone's sexual orientation or stuff like that, and I don't do that. Now if they want to say me going, LGBTQRCVWXYZ, they want to say, yo, that is breaking terms of service because of this and that and that. I don't think I do anything that would upset the gatekeeper. But if that was true to me, then it is what it is. I wouldn't start on YouTube anyway. If I saw that they were cracking down on just me being me, then I would start a second channel or something like that and just allow me to be me on that channel.
And that's interesting. I mean, people have been asking me to do a vlog on, in our Canadian charter, gender expression was added as a protected class, for lack of a better word. And then Jordan Peterson was debating with a trans professor where the university, I think it's University of Toronto, had basically established sort of university guidelines as to the gender pronouns that you had to use. And if students insisted on certain pronouns, then the policy was to use those certain pronouns. And Peterson was saying how it's legislating words.
Yeah.
And people have been asking me sort of like to deal with that from a legal perspective, because is it in fact, the catchphrase in American media was that it's now illegal in Canada to refer to someone who says, refer to me as a she if you refer to them as a he. Mm-hmm. Which it's not as simple as that, but it's not even accurate to say that. But where was I going with all of this? In terms of what the media companies or what the platforms are going to determine to be offensive and hateful, and you say whether or not the joke LGB XYZ is that you don't consider that hateful, but the question is at what point in time, through loosening up of terminology as to what constitutes hate or harassment, if that becomes the norm, then yeah, then you might see yourself.
Then I'll have to adapt and come up with something else. But I don't think the message would be any different. I think the delivery would be different, and I don't think I would want the delivery any vastly different from what it is now. So instead of that, I would just be like, I would just be like A, B, C, D, F, G. It gets the same point across. The same inflection is still there. It's just a different word. I don't know how far that would go, because I think certain words need to be, they're words for a reason. We have them there. So it depends, but I think we need to. It's just tough, because when they retroactively do something, like say you're good for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden, in 2019, June 9th, they changed something, and then what you just did last week is now legal or now out of their terms of service. I think this happened to the Hodge twins, like a video they did back in 2015. They got a flag. I'm like, a video back in 2015, and now they can't live stream and stuff like that. And the thing is once you go into this political arena, because it is so polarized, you're gonna have people who inspect every nook and cranny to see if they can catch you slipping.
Well, that's where I think a lot of the people who are complaining about a liberal bias, that's one of the elements that they bring up, is that oftentimes it looks like once someone becomes shows up on the radar, then they back and look for an excuse as opposed to actually responding to bona fide
exactly
content. Do you watch? You ever heard of Soph? Are you familiar with Soph?
Soph? Yeah. She that dude had a little hit piece. I saw the video. I think there was anything crazy about it. But yeah, I think it's also having a Streisand effect to a certain extent. But for me, I'd love to stay under the radar as long as as long as possible.
That was, I was watching Soph, not watching the channel, but rather when that whole thing came out, I said, you know what? I guarantee you this is having, say from a number perspective, a positive impact on the channel. And sure enough, it was like exponential growth in the time frame of the publication of that article, to the point where it's as though the Streisand effect is an unknown force to people over a certain age or within a certain milieu. They don't know or understand what it is, or they do, and then it leads you to think like they actually want more people to know about this 13-year-old girl with a shocking YouTube channel, which is why they put out the hit piece. I can't figure out if people are unaware of the Streisand effect or they are aware of it and they're trying to manipulate it to occur.
I think it may be more strategical. Whereas that by giving a spotlight to this individual, yeah, that may gather them, garner more, a bigger platform of more people to come to their page, but it's also more eyes on it. So that's more people who are going to be scrutinizing everything that this individual says, which leads to possible more attempts at spamming the person or possibly deplatforming them.
When you were suspended from Twitter, all your old tweets, are they deleted in the ether or have they been archived?
Gone, disappeared. Poof. Almost they Thanos me.
And someone who's never watched one of those videos, I know what the Thanos reference is. I haven't actually seen. Is that Infinity Wars?
Yeah, in-game or Infinity Wars. Don't want to spoil anything.
All right, CK Hawk 00 says, how would calling someone a name based on race, sex, etc. be considered worse than being called associated with a hate group if argued in court? That question, CK Hawk, I made the mistake using someone else's name with the word hawk in it previously, but that is a broad question, unanswerable. And what I'm waiting for is the day when calling someone, suggesting that someone is part of a hate group or a Nazi or extreme right wing, when that itself becomes a sanctionable thing to do, because the amount of seeing it now with this Vox apocalypse, it's like it seems to be the catchphrase or the easiest way just to discredit somebody and really ruin their name in a way different than when the right does it and they say libtard and snowflakes and things like that. They're fundamentally different than calling someone a hateful person and suggesting that they are.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because I was called Newsweek. Dude in Newsweek called me alt-right. I was like, wait, what? And this was over a Spider-Man game. I was just like, I could only imagine if he started watching some of my other videos. I was like, oh man, I'd be in loads of trouble. But they just throw them around and it gets to the point where you get desensitized to it, where these words have no weight to them.
That's actually so. The funniest thing, first of all, we're in such a hyper politicized world. We're criticizing a game. I can see how someone can call you alt-right depending on the basis of your criticism, because they'll attack the criticism from a gender angle or from a social justice angle. If you don't like the game, it has to be because the game is promoting this or bringing this up to the forefront. It's the weirdest thing. I mean, to the point where it applies to food. I remember to cauliflower. Now it's like it's gone to any critique is now framed or disregarded in that type of life. But
I wish he had done that. At least I could have, done a rebuttal. But no, they how when someone just throws just subtle shade on an individual, where it's like, I would never talk ill of any of my employees, especially not John. No, wait, what was the joke? It's like, I would never talk ill of John, especially, since he's dealing with, especially like an alcoholic, drug addict individual or something like that. Yeah. Where it's like subtle shade. It's like, well, you just threw shade on the dude without having to actually say, well, he is such and such. That's what it was. Because he didn't give any context to it. He was just like, alt-right, such and such and such and such, did this little harassment campaign. And that's the thing with harassment. Oh my gosh. I feel everything constitutes this harassment nowadays. Like anything and everything, depending on the person's perspective and how they feel at the moment.
Well, it's interesting. You say you are pessimistic and cynical, and I do think we're getting to a point, and this is not a political thing because the harassment is not necessarily politics. It's just oversensitivity. I'm seeing now that I have kids, and I'm seeing the sort of a younger generation, and I don't necessarily feel that I don't think it's good. I think at some point it's going to start getting better because people are going to. There has to be the pendulum swinging in the other direction.
There's going to be a gag reflex, yeah.
But
that's how I feel.
My from a very selfish perspective, my only concern is that these wonderful platforms, which were built on the free expression of ideas, are going to get taken over by that by an underlying pressure that is going to disguise itself as killing its baby, its creation, under the guise of protecting, not freedom of speech, but protecting the sensitivities of others. And if YouTube goes that way, hopefully they'll find the balance where the Crowder situation, there's going to be some more. I say tolerance, like it's a weird thing. If you are sensitive to Crowder, or you say that you think it's an injustice to Steven Crowder, you get accused of being a homophobe as well. Whereas there was a context, from what I understand, between the situation where these two people were fighting, and one person, everyone was correcting me on this on my video on Crowder, but apparently Crowder was only calling Mazza words that Mazza called himself. And then the question is, when does part of this game, when does it a game, and when does it become bona fide harassment, where someone is actually being harassed for sexual orientation or ethnicity? But so, I mean, not knowing too much of the details of the Crowder situation, just a lot of people were saying all that he was doing was saying things which Mazza was saying about himself, and it's not bona fide harassment that YouTube should be going after. And there's tons of other worse harassment.
I hear you. If I call myself a black male and someone says, tries to use that in a disparaging way, well, then does that mean that's harassment? Like, oh, look at this black male. Well, I don't know if you would consider that harassment, because that's what I call myself. But because of your tone and inflection, does that give a different, context and meaning to the word?
Yeah, it's context. I mean, to some extent, it's context. I know if people call me certain things, harassment is. I mean, the risk is that it is being overused to the point where actual harassment is not distinguishable from.
And that is that's the primary problem. It's the same problem with racism. Everything's racist, or everything's this and this and this. And it's like, you're doing a disservice to actual issues, to actual problems.
No, I'm reading now. Randy Mejia says he didn't call himself a lispy QE, and simply
the lispy part. That's what I'm like.
Well, was it the
now?
Well, I don't know if he refers to himself as queer. I imagine he has to, but it's like, or the lispy. That's Randy. If we're reading it, I know it's on 30-second slow-mo, but for those of us who don't know the details, which words did he not actually use to describe himself that Crowder used?
Well, obviously he's not going to self-describe himself as lispy. But I don't think that's a big deal. But that's just, once again, that's me. My sensitivity level is completely different from everyone else's, because I've been called every name in the book. But I'm just like, okay, you shrug it off.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. There is a point at which harassment has to have consequences on the platform. It's just sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Pensive, yeah, no. But the problem is, and I do understand, but from both sides, there is the Twitter mob, which unleashes insufferable.
But the thing is, the issue with this is the hypocrisy. That's what I can't stand of this scenario, is the hypocrisy of Mazza. Because he's the one on his Twitter calling Tucker Carlson a white supremacist. I'm just like, wait. He's advocated to falsely flag Crowder's videos. He's like, well, if you guys want to help, I guess you could flag his videos. Like, the fact that anyone would take this dude seriously or give any weight to anything he says is beyond me. Like, it makes no sense to me.
Well, and that's why.
And then he also advocated for assaulting people with milkshakes. Milkshake them all. I'm like, guess what, guy? You have no dog in this fight. You get to say nothing. Go sit in the corner and put your dunce cap on.
That's another interesting thing, is that the milkshake thing in criminal law is assault. I mean, we know that is from the legal community. So I'm from a lawyer's perspective amazed that we live in a world where that is an encouraged or even a supported idea. And when I was talking about like the context of this social media war between Mazza and Crowder, that was sort of what I understood as being this dynamic where both were having at each other. And at one point, one said enough is enough, and now I'm gonna, get YouTube on your back.
He took his ball and left the playground.
Yeah. Now I think we might be getting. Now we might have to go, Lucas, because I hear people coming in. People coming in the house.
Oh, he's got a little family. Oh, this guy. You trying to rub it in? Is that what you're trying to do?
But I think she left me alone for now. It's been 2 hours, and I'm not sure how much more.
Wait, you have to come back.
Oh, look at the baby. What? Oh. See, that's what I want. I will have that one day. I will have that one day.
Well, enjoy the peace and quiet while you have it, because once it's gone forever.
Well, you have a dog, so it's like you're asking for it.
Well, I think we're done at 3, and we're done with the 2 dogs, and we're done for a number of reasons.
3? What do you mean 3? You have 3 kids?
3 kids, 2 dogs, and one of the dogs is paralyzed.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness, is right there. I gotta get a shirt. All right, so they have all been very patient. Thank you. This is
Somebody's been busy. All right, man. I see you. I see you.
Luke, I mean, I can't thank you enough, because I love it. I would do it again whenever you're ready. We wait a fair period of time so that there's new stuff to talk about.
There we go.
You
mean 15 minutes?
Say it again.
So you mean 15 minutes? Yeah.
Oh gosh, no. At the rate of news, we'll have what to talk about in a couple weeks' time. Hey, go through. I'll meet you out there in 2 minutes. Go.
Oh, he's got a little family. Oh, it's so adorable.
No, and there's a part of me that wishes that everyone who had a message to deliver could deliver it in a way that would be objectively tolerable by everybody. The reality, though, that I'm coming to
impossible.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's impossible. It's impossible, and then you just have to pick the thresholds that are going to be your thresholds for what you can tolerate. Because I do my best in my vlogs to be not necessarily, I say objective, but to be courteous and to be understanding to both sides, and that's
very diplomatic of you. I see you. I see you.
But even still, I still get accused of things. I still get accused of bias from both sides. I still get accused of being easier on one group, one side than another. And there's nothing you can do about it. But then you have the guys like you, you have the guys like Crowder, then you have the guys on the other side. Can't think of anybody's name offhand.
I love how I don't know if that's a positive or a negative that you keep putting me in with Crowder.
Well, no, it's people who get their political message across, which may be an insightful one, but in a way that they know is going to offend somebody. And now Crowder was a little bit more, and I'm not lumping you with Crowder on the substantive level either, because the one thing I do remember in retrospect about Crowder is I think he would go to like campus grounds and ask university students questions to embarrass them politically.
It changed my mind. I don't think it's to embarrass them. It's to have them. It's the Socratic method. Have them prove why they believe what they believe. Well, and how much of that is really indoctrination, and how much of that is actual understanding.
Well, and that's the thing. That the message I totally approve of. The part where that always upset me, and it's the same thing when Stephen Colbert does it, or when Jimmy Kimmel does it. Embarrassing people to make the point is where I take issue with it. And I don't think that's why I don't think you're in the same.
I agree. I don't think he embarrasses anyone. I don't think anyone's really been embarrassed on the show.
Ooh, we got Ozzy Dog says, "Love your videos. Keep it real from Australia." That's amazing.
Australia, mate. All right,
No, so I don't mean to lump you together with him in terms of the substance. Although I do it only in terms of on the idea that your delivery is going to upset people.
Uh-oh.
No.
I'm joking. I'm teasing.
And it's just that, but I'm not sure that I think I might live in too much fear for my own good, where it might take the.
Sure. That's why you're bold with it. I give you all the respect in the world because you have you have something that you can actually lose. That's why for me, I keep everything private so no one can like target or do like a facial recognition scan or something like that. Because I feel like there's crazies out there. And with the technology where it is right now, I feel like you just one step away from someone doing a hit piece on you. And they're like, yo, this guy's preaching hate speech. He had an alt-right YouTuber on his channel last time. Yo, we should go out his house and, protest and stuff like that. I'm like, we're in that day and age where that's a possibility.
Well, and my ultimate, if I have one purpose, it's like I want to. It is possible to have civil discussions with people that you disagree with, and it's possible to understand the position of people that you disagree with. And I really think people need to start doing that, because I can imagine what social and political life was like in Vietnam, where you had this huge issue that was just separating friends and families, and I could see it today, and I want to be contributive to showing people, or just at least bringing back this spirit that you can have discussions with people. You
just be safe. Don't become a martyr, my guy. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because many people with the best intentions, those are the main ones. They hang to dry.
Well, at the very least, I'll put my law degree to some use and continue doing it.
That's the other thing. That was like, well, he's also a lawyer, so he also has that protection right there. But I'm like, doesn't matter. Court of public opinion. You can't legislate that, my guy.
This is true. This is true. But at the very least, if I can do nothing else, I'll do nothing else with my vlogs. I'll break down things and people understand it. And for tomorrow's video, people will understand what was it called? It was called a directive verdict. A directed verdict. Sorry. People will understand what a directed verdict is, and they'll be able to read the news.
There we go, people. Look, informative and insightful, man. Subscribe to his channel, people. Subscribe.
Lucas, thank you very much. It's been amazing.
Thank you. This guy. Oh, man. Thank you. No, it has been amazing. Appreciate the invite. Good luck with the family. Good luck with your channel. Wish you the best, my guy.
All right. Awesome.
No more children, right? No more? We got one more in you.
We're done with that.
We're done.
And at the risk of getting in trouble for commenting on your channel, I'm still going to comment on the videos when I think I have something to add to the discussion.
By all means, go for it. Go for it.
Lucas, enjoy the rest of the weekend.
You as well, man. You as well.
All right, I'm hitting stop now, and peace out, everybody.